Alright, hey everyone, this is Chris with Sheba. We're going to start with a little bit of marking and luring. Get some vocabulary into her. She's been with me for a couple of days now, and she's a little bit insecure, unsure. She has a tendency to react on leash towards dogs, but I've had her with my pack, and she's totally fine. You want to learn today, don't you? Alright, well, let's get this started. I'm going to start introducing some vocabulary to her, teach her a marker word, which the word that I use is yes, and get started from there. Oh, thank you. Alright, let's go. So, I take pretty much the same approach from Michael Ellis' system. I'm going to start introducing the marker word, and when I introduce that, I'm not really going to have the dog do anything. I'm just going to charge the marker and show her how to access the reward. Okay? So, the dog's not doing nothing. I'm basically just going to say, yes, reward. In this particular exercise, I usually like to wait for eye contact. Yes. Good. And if you notice, I'm not marking and rewarding at the same time. I'm separating the two about a half a second to a second apart. So I'm going to wait for eye contact. Yes. Then present the reward. Right, so she knows I got food, so she's going to look at my hands and she's going to look at me. Yes. Good. I want to make sure that I reward with both hands. I don't want to just reward from one hand, because the dogs will have a tendency to always look towards that hand. And where you reward the dog will have a tendency to go that way. So I want to teach her to unlock it, she has to look up at me. Yes. Good girl. Yes. Good girl. Good. Good. Yes. Good girl. Now the other thing that I'm going to start adding in is the word good. So, two marker words that produce rewards. One is yes, and the other one is good. The difference between the two is good acts as like a bridge, where I like to say where good means whatever you're doing, continue doing it. Right? So if I want to teach a dog how to sit, technically the dog could go like this, and the dog sat. But if you want the dog to continue performing the behavior, for example, sit and stay sitting, I want to use the encourager, which is good, to inform the dog, keep doing that. Right? So whatever you're doing, keep doing it. So in this particular instance, I want the dog to continue looking at me. Right? So start out like this. Dog will look at me. Good. Good. Yes. There you go. Good. Now, once I mark with the word yes, it doesn't have to be one reward, right? When I mark it, that just signifies the end of the exercise. So I can extend that reward event by giving multiple treats. That's not for you. We'll try it again. Good. 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 Yes. Good. Good. Okay. There you go. So I did about three repetitions right there, and I like to keep it short. As soon as I end it, like I already have in mind how many reps I'm going to do of a particular exercise, and once I reach that, which was in this instance 3, I ended it with my release word, which was I use okay. And so once I end it and I release it, you'll notice there's a change in my demeanor and a big contrast in my body language and the way that I talk. And then along with that, that's when I can pet the dog, tell the dog how good she is, and then take a break. I want to keep it short because once I know the dog is engaged with me and into it, I don't want to prolong it to the point where the dog excuse me, starts to check out on me or tune out and gets a little bored. I always want to end it where the dog's like, hey, you're not done yet, let's do this some more. But that's key, because now I take a break, the dog's like, hey, what's going on, I want to keep on going. I dictate the scenario. In a couple of minutes I'm going to start back up again. Usually wait till the dog says, oh, okay, I guess we're done. Dog goes off in its own world. Then I call the dog back and re-engage with the dog. Typically what happens is that the dog's going to be like, oh, we're starting back up again? That's real cool. Why'd we stop in the first place? Right? And so you'll see the drive of the dog. The dog will perk back up. He'll be really into the work that you're going to do because he didn't want you to stop in the first place. And if you do that on a consistent basis, the dog will get conditioned. Every time you call the dog's going to associate, oh man, this is going to be fun. So again, it's not so much about the food. A lot of people have these qualms about, food training. But under Michael Ellis' system, which I never had a chance to personally study him, under him, but I study his stuff religiously. So, what was I saying? Oh, it's not so much about the food. Like, sure, I may have food or I may have a toy, but really, what I'm trying to develop is the interaction between me and the dog, right? So that the food just becomes secondary. I just happen to have food, or I just happen to have a toy, but what really adds to the experience for the dog is the interaction between me and the dog, right? So I can have a toy and give the toy to the dog, and he can play with it, she can play with it and have fun with it, but there's only so much you can do by yourself, right? If I have a ball and I'm playing with the ball, I'm tossing it on the wall, after a certain point it's like, okay, this is boring. But when you have somebody to share it with, right, the experience is a lot more fun and a lot more memorable. Plus you're doing it together, and it's a great way to bond with your dog. Alright, so we'll go back again. Shiba. Alright. Sit. Good. Eye contact is good. Yes. 1, 2. Good girl. I may move around a little bit. Come on, Shiba. Sit. Good. Good. Yes. Good. Okay. So right there, I did it about twice. I want to make sure that everything that I do is pretty consistent. I don't want to change it around too much because I want to allow the dog to process what's happening. Usually for a normal human brain, we only need 1 or 2 examples and we can figure things out. Some dogs are capable of doing that, but for the most part, you want to make sure you repeat whatever you're doing a couple of times so that we give the dog enough experiences to process the information, I guess process of elimination, or just figuring out how to access this, right? Okay, let's start again. Good girl. Wait for the dog to look up at me and make eye contact. Good. Good. Yes. Good girl. Right? Sit. Yes. Good. Sit. Yes. Good. Okay. Good girl. That's good. Alright, so that was it for the most part. Just to get started developing vocabulary for your dog. I hope that was helpful.